Welcome and good evening. This is Commish Orr, and I want to welcome you to Game 4 of the World Series, the Baseball Maelstrom World Series between the Detroit Rockets and the St. Louis Wizards. This is Game 4 in Detroit. The second game here in Detroit, fourth game of the World Series. Detroit Rockets surprising everyone by taking the first two games in St. Louis, but the St. Louis Wizards weren't out of it, and they took Game 3 last night here in Detroit. So the home team is yet to win a game. We'll see if that continues. On the mound are the Game 1 starters, Carl Hubbell for the St. Louis Wizards and Roger Clemens for the Detroit Rockets. And just taking a look as a reminder, Roger Clemens was 6-5 on the regular season with a 3.66 ERA, and Carl Hubbell was 9-1 on the regular season with a 2.71 ERA. Hubbell, a lefty. Let's take a look and see how these two matched up in Game 1. Clemens in Game 1 went 7 innings and allowed just 2 earned runs, thanks to a 3-run homer from Larry Walker. Hubbell went 7 innings, allowed 3 earned runs, 12 hits though. So the Detroit offense had their way with him for most of the game. Both teams had an unearned run, combined 5 errors that game from the two teams. And we will see if things change here at Tiger Stadium. So here we are in fact playing the 1983 version of Tiger Stadium, which does favor the home run, 1-76 wheelhouse for lefties, 1-70 wheelhouse for righties. So that will be interesting. Let's take a look at the starting lineups, which are the same starting lineups that were used in Game 1. First, for the St. Louis Wizards, we have Oscar Charleston leading off and playing center field. So we have Tony Gwynn DHing batting second. Larry Walker is in right field and batting third. Stan Musial in left field and batting cleanup. He has yet to do much in the series. Willie McCovey will be batting fifth, playing first base. Ted Simmons behind the plate, catching for the Wizards and batting sixth. Ron Santo batting seventh at third base. Rogers Hornsby batting eighth at second base. And finally, the Wizard himself, Ozzie Smith, at shortstop, batting ninth. How about the Detroit lineup? We have Kenny Lofton leading off in center field. Ichiro Suzuki batting second in right field. Alex Rodriguez batting third at shortstop. Dick Allen will be playing first base and batting in the cleanup spot. And Manny Ramirez returns to the lineup against the lefty starter here, and he'll be in left field batting fifth. Thurman Munson will be batting sixth at catcher. Charlie Blackwell batting seventh and DHing today. Adrian Beltre at third base batting eighth. And finally, Bobby Grich batting ninth at second base. So we will see how things go here for these two teams. We're ready to begin here momentarily. Let me get things all set up here, and we are ready for the first pitch here. All right. Roger Clemens dealing to Oscar Charleston, and that's going to be a tough 34, and Charleston strikes out to start game number 4. Detroit Rockets have a 2-1. They're up 2 games to 1 on the Wizards. Looking to go up 3 games to 1 if they can. Tony Gwynn steps in. Tough 21, and Gwynn takes that one into the gap for a double. He pulls into second standing up. Gwynn doesn't go anywhere. He's not looking to take a lead here, and that brings up Larry Walker. Gwynn in scoring position now. Ballpark. 71. That is going to be a wheelhouse 69, and that's going to be a single. That'll be a 2-base single. So Gwyn will score on this one since it was a wheelhouse result. And the Wizards are the first to get on the board again. Walker does not look to get a jump here. Stan the Man coming up. Tough 88. And that is a ground out to second. Higher than the double play ratings, and it's a 10, so we're going to do 4-3, and Walker will advance to second on the play. On 10s, 11s, and 12s, I usually have the runner advance, unless, of course, it's a double play. So Stan Musial continues to struggle here in the World Series. He's 2 for 16 at this point. Brings up Willie McCovey, who is also struggling. He's only 1 for 10. Patient 50, and he will draw a walk. So McCovey takes first base, and that puts runners on first and second with 2 outs. Ted Simmons steps in. Batting from the left-hand side of the plate. Patient 60. And Clemens gets one a little bit too far inside and hits Simmons. That loads the bases. The Wizards have a chance to do some damage here, but there are 2 outs, so Ron Santos steps in. Tough 62. That will be past his hit range, and he is going to fly out to right. Ichiro hauls it in, and the Rockets get out of the inning with only allowing 1 run. Rockets fans not very happy with this start, but now they have their chance to strike back here against Carl Hubble. Kenny Lofton will be the leadoff hitter. In play 83, and he will fly out to Charleston in center. For out number 1, Ichiro Suzuki. Ichiro 3 for 17 in this World Series. Tough 92. And that's going to be a ground out to Hornsby over at second. And he tosses to McCovey for out number 2. Alex Rodriguez steps in with 2 down, nobody on. Tough 18, and Hubble strikes him out to end the inning. 3 up, 3 down. It's the best you can hope for there, and takes us to the top of the second. St. Louis up 1-0. Rogers Hornsby steps in. There we go. Hornsby steps in against Clemens. That'll be a defense check. Both teams showing some sketchy defense so far this series. This one should be good, though. 81 isn't going to be an error for anybody. Alex Rodriguez fields this one cleanly and tosses over to Allen at first for out number 1. Ozzie Smith steps in. Ozzie Smith, 1 for 11. Only 1 for 11 in this series. Tough 34. And that is going to be a pop out to short. Rodriguez under that one. And that's out number 2. We're back to the top of the order here with Oscar Charleston, who struck out to start this game. And that will be strikeout number 2 for Charleston and for Clemens. And 3 up, 3 down for the Wizards. Takes us to the bottom of the second here as Carl Hubble deals against Dick Allen. Tough 52, and Allen will have the first base hit for Detroit this game. Clean single into left field. He's not looking for a jump here. And brings up Manny Ramirez. He's also only 1 for 10 this series. Patient 69, and that's going to be another base hit. The Rockets getting something going here. That's going to be a hit to left, so Dick Allen rounds second, but doesn't risk it with no outs. So Hubble, not a very good start to the second inning here. Thurman Munson steps in. Tough 37, and that's going to be the 3rd single in a row. This is a tough result. So this one's to center field. Charleston's out there in center. Allen only has a 6 running rating, so I subtract 2 from that because of the tough result. And Allen doesn't go anywhere. He's staying there. So that loads the bases for Charlie Blackwell. Hubble's in some danger here. Corners are playing in. Second baseman and shortstop at double play depth. In play, 78. And that is going to be a fly out to Charleston in center. Allen, not the greatest speed. Charleston has a decent arm, and he's not going anywhere on that one. So Hubble does what he needed to do on that one. Brings up Adrian Beltre. 1 down. Now a double play gets them out of the inning. Once again, corners are in. In play, 67. And that's going to be a ground out to second base. They tried to turn 2, but that is not going to be... That ball was kind of hit in a bad spot for the second baseman to try to do anything with. So Hornsby tosses it over to first base. He can't get the force. I thought he was going to try to turn 2 there, but at 10, 11, and 12, all he can do is throw to first. So that's going to tie the game with that grounder to the right side. Brings up Bobby Grich. There are 2 outs now. Runners still on second and third. Hubble looking to get out of this inning, limiting the damage here. And that's not going to do it. Hubble leaves one in the zone, and Grich is going to take that one deep. Bobby Grich, who was somewhat of a hero in the first game, hits a 3-run homer, and the Detroit Rockets are up 4-1. Detroit fans are on their feet. Bobby Grich comes out to make a curtain call here, waving to the fans. Lou Whitaker may have lost himself a starting job the next time he has a chance to start. So we're back to the top of the lineup here. Carl Hubble, another struggling game here. He's allowed 4 runs this inning. Tough 68. And he will finally get out of this inning with a fly out to Stan Musial in left, but not before Detroit scores 4 runs. The Wizards look to respond here in the third. Tony Gwynn stepping in against Roger Clemens. That's going to be a ballpark. 78 is not low enough to be a wheelhouse. Wouldn't have mattered anyway with that 91. And Gwynn is going to ground out to Bobby Grich. Brings in Larry Walker. Brings up Larry Walker. Tough 17, and he strikes out. It's a 3rd strikeout for Clemens this game. And brings up the cleanup hitter, Stan the Man. He's grounded out once this game. He's not having a very good series, 2 for 16. In play, 27. That one will be a base hit, though. So he rounds with a single. Doesn't look to take a lead. Brings up Willie McCovey, 2 outs. Musial on first. In play, 71, and that is going to be a fly out to Lofton in center to end the inning. No runs on 1 hit for the Wizards there. So bottom of the third. And we'll see if Hubble can calm down from his bad start to the second inning. Ichiro Suzuki in. Patient 72. Ichiro doesn't take very many walks. And he grounds this one to short. Ozzie Smith over to McCovey for out number 1. Alex Rodriguez steps in. In play, 42. And that's going to be a ground out back to the pitcher. Hubble takes it himself. Tosses over to McCovey for the second out. Dick Allen, who started the second inning with a single, steps in. He's 4 for 17 this series. Patient 56, and he draws a walk, a 2-out walk for Dick Allen. 5 jump. He's not going to go anywhere. And that brings up Manny Ramirez. In play 62. And that's going to be an easy fly out to Walker in right. And that'll be the third out. End of the third inning now. We head to the fourth. Detroit's still up 4-1. Ted Simmons, who was hit by a pitch in his last at bat in the first inning, steps in against Clemens. Tough 53. And this time he's going to ground to Beltre there at third. Easy play for Beltre, and that's out number 1. Ron Santo. Tough 68. And this one's a grounder to second. Grich takes the easy play here, and that's out number 2. Hornsby, who's had a decent series, 5 for 14, but he did ground out his last at bat. Patient 23, he draws a walk this time. So 2-out walk for Hornsby. Now that is his first time on base, which means we subtract 1 from this jump, and he only has a jump of 3. He needed to have that 4 there in order to try to steal here. That brings up Ozzie Smith, though. Tough 81, and this will be the end of the inning as Smith flies out to Lofton in center. So we head to the bottom of the fourth. Rockets. Munson, the first batter for the Rockets here against Hubble. Tough 90. And that is going to be a ground out to Ozzie Smith. Smith over to McCovey for the first out. Charlie Blackwell. Blackwell's able to draw a walk here. So Blackwell takes first. A jump of 2, and he has a 4. So we're going to see if he attempts to steal here. 91 is not going to do it. Actually, I don't have any of my charts up, do I? Let me pull my charts up real quick. I haven't had to use them so far. So once again, I use the ID Jester base running charts. I also use the, where are they? Payoff pitch charts. And I use the game to also look at rare play, the rare play options. So what was this I was looking for? Oh, yes. We were looking to see if he was going to attempt 91. I'm pretty sure he's not going to attempt. No. So he's not going to attempt to steal here. So that brings up Beltre with Blackwell now on first. Tough 76. Now that's going to be another fly out to center. Charleston hauls this one in for the second out of the inning. The crowd actually on their feet here for Bobby Grich. Grich is 4 for 8 this series with 5 RBI, 3 of them coming from the home run here in the second inning. Crowd wants to see something happen here again. 8:34. It's in play 34. That's not going to happen this time as Grich pops one back behind the plate. And Simmons hauls that one in for the third out. That takes us to the fifth inning. Roger Clemens will face the top of the Wizards order. Oscar Charleston, who's struck out twice today, will lead things off. In play 92, and Charleston finally gets one in play here, but it's an easy grounder to Grich there at second base for out number 1. Tony Gwynn, He's 1 for 2 today, 6 for 15 on the series. Patient 65. That's beyond that range. So Gwyn's going to fly out here to Ramirez in left for the second out. Larry Walker. He's also 1 for 2 today, 4 for 15 on the series. Does have a homer in the series. Patient 68. And Walker hits one into the corner. Suzuki having trouble getting a hold of it down there in the corner. Finally gets it in, but not before Walker gets over to third with a triple. So the Wizards have a chance to do something here. There are 2 outs, though. But Stan Musial comes up with Walker on third and 2 down. Defense play. Third base error. Beltre is going to get a hold of this one. And he tosses over to Dick Allen for out number 3. So Clemens able to pitch out of that jam. And Stan Musial still looking to get his groove going here in the World Series. So bottom of the 5th. And we are also looking at Kenny Lofton, the leadoff hitter for the Rockets. He's 0 for 2 today. He's batting third, 333 on the series. In play 1, and that is going to be a double for Lofton, a leadoff double. Lofton cruises into second, standing up here. He does have a good steal rating. Let's see if we can roll doubles under 8. We do not, so Lofton will not try to get a jump here. Ichiro Suzuki, in play 45. And that is a pop out to McCovey at first. So Lofton doesn't go anywhere on that one. Brings up Alex Rodriguez. He's 0 for 2 today. He's hitting 389 on the series with 2 homers, though. Defense. Third base error, that's not going to be good. 1 to 40 would be an error. 17 is going to be an error for anybody. Not only is it an error, it's a single an error. Rodriguez would have beat the throw anyway. And Lofton's going to score on this one. As, who is this? Third base. Santo with a throwing error on the rushed play. And now we have Alex Rodriguez at second base. So Detroit adding to their lead here. It's now 5-1, and Dick Allen steps in. Rockets fans hoping to get more going here. Hubble deals. Tough 84. And that's a ground out to short. Smith looks Rodriguez back and tosses it over to McCovey for out number 2. So Manny Ramirez steps in, 2 down. Rodriguez on second. Patient 46, and Ramirez draws a walk. That puts runners on the corners. Ramirez, not a stolen base threat at all. Or a good running threat, to be honest. That brings up Thurman Munson here with 2 outs. Runners on the corner, or excuse me, runners on the corners. Oh, actually, not runners on the corners. Sorry, folks, I need to back this up. I just noticed that Rodriguez shouldn't have been on third because on that ground out, he was, Ozzie Smith looked him back. Sorry about that. So Ramirez walks, and now we have runners on first and second with 2 out, and Munson up. And that's another defense play. Another third base error check here. That should be good this time. 1 to 40, and it's a 47, so that's going to be an easy ground out to Santo there at third. who tosses it over to first for out number 3, but not before Detroit gets an insurance run. And we head to the 6th. Detroit is now up 5-1. Clemens deals to McCovey, who's 0 for 1 today, 1 for 11 on the series. And he strikes him out. That is the 4th strikeout for Clemens in this game. Ted Simmons, who's 0 for 1 today, 2 for 10 on the series. Both of those hits were doubles. Tough 63. This time it's an easy fly out to Ramirez in left. And Ron Santos steps in. He's 0 for 2 today. He only has 1 hit this series. Patient 37, and that's going to be another 2-out walk. We've had a lot of those today. Santo doesn't go anywhere. Hornsby steps to the plate. Runner on first, 2 outs. Tough 95, and that's going to be the end of that inning as he flies out to Ramirez to end the 6th. So we head to to end their part of the 6th. So we head to the bottom of the 6th. Charlie Blackwell steps in against Carl Hubble, who's still out there. Patient 94. It's going to be high enough that it's a fly out to Walker in right. So 1 down. Adrian Beltre, who's 0 for 2. He did ground out to score a run, though, in the 2nd inning. Tough 42, and that's going to be a strikeout. It's only Hubble's 2nd strikeout of the game, surprisingly. And Bobby Grich. Once again, the crowd gets loud as Grich, the hero of today's game so far, steps in. Patient 81. And he's going to hit a clean single. It's a 2-out single for Grich. The crowd stays on their feet for Kenny Lofton, hoping to continue this and get continue the chance here to score another run. That's going to be a defense check. Second base error. That's Hornsby. He's not the greatest fielder, and that is going to be an error on Hornsby. He bobbles it to keep this inning alive for the Rockets. Wizards defense kind of betraying them a little bit here. So we have runners on first and second with 2 outs now, and Ichiro Suzuki steps in. He is 0 for 3 today. Only hitting 150 this series. Tough 71. And that will be another ground out for Ichiro to end the inning. This one, Rodriguez flips Ozzie Smith flips to Hornsby to end the inning here. So we head to the 7th. Rockets are still up 5-1. Clemens seems to be cruising so far. The only run he's allowed was in the 1st inning. The St. Louis bats have been pretty quiet since then. Ozzie Smith will step in. And he strikes him out. That's strikeout number 5 for Clemens. Ozzie Smith doesn't strike out very often. Oscar Charleston, top of the order. Tough 75. And Charleston grounds out to Rodriguez for out number 2. Tony Gwynn, let's see if he can get something started. Maybe so. That is a wheelhouse 15. Gwynn with not much power. That one's off the wall. And Gwynn cruises into second base with a double. Both pitchers having trouble getting that 3rd out after the first 2 of the inning. Gwynn's not going anywhere. Larry Walker, who's 2 for 3 today. See what he can do. Tough 79. That's not going to be good for the Wizards, as he flies out to Lofton in center to end the 7th inning. Hubble will still be in here for the bottom of the 7th, facing Alex Rodriguez to lead off the inning here. There is some activity in the bullpen for the Wizards as well as the Rockets. Patient 14 and Alex Rodriguez draws a leadoff walk here. And he is going to, we're going to see if he gets is going to attempt it. He's probably not. Hold of 6. Steal of 4. 4, 6. No. He stays put. Dick Allen. That is a wheelhouse. Could have been very deadly here, but 93 is high enough that it's just going to be a single. Rodriguez takes third on the base hit, though, and we have runners on the corners with no outs here in the 7th. Allen not trying to get a jump. The Wizards letting Hubble pitch to another batter, surprisingly. Tough 71. And I should have said corners were in. It's not going to matter here, as this one's hit to the second baseman, who is going to turn 2. So Ramirez grounds into a double play here, but that's going to score another run as Rodriguez scores on the double play. So bases are empty again. Rockets now are up 6-1. And Thurman Munson with 2 outs and nobody on. Tough 61. And that will be out number 3, as that's a fly out to Walker to end the inning, but not before the Rockets score another run on Hubble. Clemens, 7 strong innings here. He is pitching on 3 days rest. And just a side note here, I did look to see Clemens' actual usage in 1986, and Boston made the playoffs that year, and Clemens pitched on 3 days rest throughout the playoffs. He was their number 1, their starter for games 1, 4, and 7 of the 7-game series. The 7-game, I think it was the ALCS that he pitched in. So this is keeping with that. I checked on that to see if he would start today or Dave Stieb would start. And because I saw that he pitched on 3 days rest in the playoffs, I did that for our playoffs here as well, our World Series here as well. That being said, even though he's been cruising today and he could continue to go, he has a fatigue rating of 8, which means it's the 8th inning now, but he's only allowed 1 run. So he could pitch another inning here. I believe Detroit is going to pull him so that he will be just as fresh for Game 7 if there is a Game 7. So Clemens coming out of this one. And they're looking to eat some innings here maybe. So I believe actually Stieb is going to be called on to pitch an inning of relief, unless he gets into some trouble here. Well, he's going to be called in to pitch an inning. Hopefully, he'll last the inning unless he gets into some trouble. So Dave Stieb is brought in here to face Stan Musial here to lead off the 8th inning. And we'll see how things go here. The pitch. Tough 78. And once again, a fly out, an easy fly out there to Lofton in center. And Wizards fans wondering what's happening here, as Musial was kind of their offensive leader during the season. He's been very quiet this World Series. Willie McCovey. Patient 82. That's high enough that it's going to be a ground out to second. Grich takes it over to Allen for out number 2. Ted Simmons. Tough 25. That's a base hit, a 2-out single. Once again, the pitchers are running into problems trying to get that 1-2-3 inning. So Simmons is on first. Simmons with very little speed. And that brings up Ron Santo, who is not having a good series either. He did hit over 300 during the regular season, but he is 1 for 12 in the World Series here. Tough 59, and that is just beyond his base hit range. Kind of just demonstrates the series that Santo is having here, as Beltre is able to get to this one, and he tosses over to Allen for out number 3. So Steve makes it through the 8th inning, and that takes us to the bottom of the 8th. And I believe the Wizards will be doing the same thing here with Hubble, as Hubble lasts 7 innings, and they will bring in, let's see what we're facing here, a lefty and 2 righties. They're actually going to bring in Robin Roberts. Roberts started hot this season before cooling way down, struggled through the second half of the season. But both teams trying to keep those arms ready in case they're needed coming up here. Robin Roberts, there's already other pitchers in the St. Louis bullpen waiting just in case Roberts runs into some big trouble here to lead off the bottom of the 8th. So Roberts will face off against Blackwell here to start things off. That's going to be defense check. First base error. McCovey is a fairly good fielder here, and that's going to be an easy ground out to first for out number 1. Covey takes that one himself. Adrian Beltre. Tough 56. Roberts is a righty, so that is going to be a ground out to third. Santo over to McCovey for out number 2. Fans still are on their feet again for Bobby Grich here with 2 outs in the 8th. Tough 75, but there's no magic here, as that is an easy fly out to Charleston in center for the 3rd out to end the 8th inning. So we head to the 9th. And Hornsby would be the next batter, followed by Ozzie Smith and Oscar Charleston, the leadoff hitter. Hornsby 0 for 2 today, but he is hitting .333 on the season, or on the series, excuse me. So Hornsby will actually bat. They are leaving Steve in here for the 9th, though there is activity in the Detroit bullpen if Steve were to get into too much trouble. Like that. Steve leaves that one hanging, and Hornsby takes him deep. Crowd goes silent a little bit. Rockets still with a 4-run lead, but now it's 6-2. So Steve is not going to pitch anymore. They're not going to take their chances. They're bringing in Quisenberry here. Normally their setup guy, but they are bringing him in here after that home run by Hornsby in hopes that this doesn't get out of hand anymore. Likewise, Ozzie Smith is 1 for 14 this series, so they are going to pinch hit for Ozzie Smith. They're going to bring in Chipper Jones here to pinch hit. Chipper Jones. There we are. Pinch hit Chipper Jones. So Chipper Jones is 3 for 6 this series. He does have a homer. And let's see how he fares against Quisenberry. There still are no outs in here in the ninth. In play, 78. Well, that's probably going to be fine. And Jones flies out to Lofton for the first out of the ninth inning. We are back to the top of the order. Oscar Charleston's 0 for 4 today with 2 strikeouts. But they are letting him hit against Quisenberry. Tough 82, and actually it's a 92 because Quisenberry adds 10 to the strikeout, or 10 to the tough results. So tough 92 is a ground out to second, and that is out number 2. The Rockets 1 win away from taking a 3-1 series lead and giving them a shot to finish things up tomorrow in Detroit. Tony Gwynn, he's 2 for 4 with 2 doubles today. He's hitting .412 on the series. Quisenberry deals. Tough 63. And that is going to be a fly out to the left. Ramirez hauls it in. And the Rockets are up 3-1 with this 6-2 win. So Hubble with another loss here. Clemens with a win. And neither Steve nor Quisenberry could get a hold or a save here because there was too big of a lead. So taking a look at the box score here, we can see Hubble as a recap here. 7 innings, 6 earned runs on 8 hits. He did walk 4 and only struck out 2. His ERA this series is 5.79, not very good. Robin Roberts had that inning of scoreless relief. Roger Clemens, on the other hand, improves to 2-0 this World Series. He allowed just 1 earned run on 5 hits, struck out 5, walked 3, and his ERA in those 2 games is 1.93. Steve had a great first inning and then allowed that home run that then had them bring in Quisenberry. Quisenberry yet to allow a run this World Series. So if we look at the offense, we see Tony Gwynn and Larry Walker with 2 hits apiece. Gwynn was 2 for 5. He's hitting .389 this series. Walker 2 for 4. He's hitting .294. But the cleanup hitter, Stan the Man, not doing much. He was 1 for 4. His average is only .158 this series. It's a bad time for him to go cold. Other thing of note is Hornsby had his second home run of the postseason. Now on the Detroit Rockets, we had Dick Allen was 2 for 3. And, of course, Bobby Grich 2 for 4 with that huge 3-run homer there in the second inning. And that's really, I guess if we had to give it to somebody again, I'd give this one to Bobby Grich for that 3-run homer. Though Clemens was doing great himself. He allowed that 1 run in the first inning and nothing after that. So, with that all said, we take a look at the schedule here. We have one more game in Detroit. Detroit up 3-1. They're going to look to hopefully finish off the Wizards here at home. If they can't, then the series moves back to St. Louis after a travel day. So taking the mound for the Detroit Rockets with a chance to close things out here is going to be Brett Saberhagen tomorrow. And for the Rockets, or excuse me, for the Wizards, it's going to be Juan Marichal. And this is, of course, a repeat of the Game 2 starters. Let's see here. Hubble, and then there was one inning by Robin Roberts. So a fairly fresh bullpen for the Wizards in case they need them. It's do or die for the Wizards tomorrow. And they'll have a day of rest following that game regardless if the series does go back to St. Louis. So it'll be all hands on deck for the Wizards in tomorrow's game. As Juan Marichal tries to at least keep this series going. If they can get to Carlton again, Carlton was pretty much lights out in Game 3. And so if they can get back to Carlton, I think the Wizards feel like they have a shot. So if they can win tomorrow and get it back to Carlton in St. Louis, then they'll at least have a shot, though Hubble will need to do something if he's pitching Game 7. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. First, we need to worry about tomorrow's game. That's June 8th game here between the St. Louis Wizards and the Detroit Rockets. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. I thank you all for watching. If you want to catch any of the action, head over to baseballmaelstrom.com. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think of the series. Check out my videos if you want to know kind of what my next projects are. I'm still trying to finalize my next payoff pitch project with these. I don't know if I'm going to do some kind of version of this league again, maybe with some differences in some rosters. But I feel like I'm going to, but we'll see how things go. But let me know down in the comments what you think. Click that like button if you like this, and consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any of the action. Otherwise, we will see you tomorrow night as we head to Game 5 of this series. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, have a great evening.